This shirt is literally the worst thing to stick a microphone to. I don't know why I keep wearing it. Hello, welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith, and today I'm bringing you a somewhat spontaneous what I got for Christmas video. I got a lot of books for Christmas. I'm very, very grateful to my family and friends who decided that books were the thing this year. Books are my favourite thing to receive. They are my favourite thing to enjoy. And as you may know, I didn't buy myself very many books in 2020. So there were a fair few that were sort of sitting about on wish lists waiting to be bought. And then after that, I sort of took a lot of the money that I had put aside for 2020 and spent that on more books because I cannot be contained. What I have in piles next to me are everything that I was gifted this year and the first lot of things that have been purchased for myself. I have 3 more things that aren't coming until fairly late in the new year, so I'm just not gonna worry too much about those. I'm just gonna show you everything I have now. What I hope is that this will be a, oh look, an interesting book that I hadn't heard about before, and not a, oh my goodness, look how many things I got for Christmas, you know. That's my hope. I hope it comes across that way. We shall see. I'm going to start with the 3 presents that I got from Booktube / other bookish creators this year. The first one of these I've already mentioned in vlogs. This is Piranesi, Still Not Sure by Susanna Clarke. This was gifted to me by the lovely Justine. I will link all these people below. She saw it on my wishlist and she thought I would really like it, and I am pretty sure I'm going to. I didn't love Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, but I think this is concise and exciting, and it sounds very conceptual, which I'm actually quite interested in. I don't know how that's going to go, but yes, beautiful. Thank you very much, Justine. Having an owned TBR again, it's very bizarre. This next one, it still has the post-it on it, says, I couldn't not get you this. And this was my Booktube Secret Santa present from Amber over at Books of Amber. Again, I'll link her below. And she got me a copy of The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Obviously, I have already read this, but I do not actually own any of the books in the series, or I did not own any of the books in the series until now. I really want to reread the series this year. I'm so excited to do so, and now it can be part of Overbooked, which is pretty nice, and the timing is right because it will come in kind of like here, so it needs to be read fairly soon. I adore this series. I have a review up for the 3rd one if you're interested in hearing more about it. Basically, like, amazing magic, politics, romance, action, epic. I just love it so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Yes, thank you. Should maybe put these where you can see them. There we go. The last one was a surprise that came in I think early December, but I did not open it till Christmas, and this is The Killing Moon by N.K. Jemisin. This was a gift from Bookish Wondergoth in the description below, and yes, I'm really, really excited to read this. This is on my January TBR. This is dream magic and conspiracy and things, and I first read this in 2013 or so when I was on holiday, and I haven't read it since, and I've been wanting to read it again now that I have more of a brain for fantasy than I did in the past, and yeah, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to getting to it. So speaking of which, also on my wish list was the second one, and now we've moved into the pile of books that are from family and people that you don't need to know who they are. I did get the second book, The Shadowed Sun, which Again, I think I have read this. I think I got it from the library, and I read it having not reread The Killing Moon because 2017 Judith lived on the wild side. Just no rules, no consequences, except there were consequences, and the consequences were I didn't understand any of the books I read. So I'm really looking forward to properly rereading this duology. So I think I'm going to read Killing Moon in January, Shadowed Sun in February is my vague plan of action, plan of attack. The next one is probably the weirdest / most wild card book on this list. My brother tends to pick out usually a thing that I like, but not always a thing I am expecting. Last year he got me a Japanese translated book, the name of which escapes me, but I did actually end up very much enjoying it. This year he decided to get me a classic, which, I mean, not too shabby, might enjoy it, not my typical thing. This is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas, and it's very long. Is my biggest So he's definitely given me quantity of book. I've never read this before. I don't know anything about it. Asher said it was piracy, an epic tale of suffering and retribution, inspired by a real-life case of wrongful imprisonment. So, I don't know when I'm going to read this. I haven't quite decided. It's on the list. I'm going to put that here because it'll knock the stack down. Next, I got Nnedi Okorafor's Akata Witch, unsure. This has been on my list for a long time. Somebody at work who reads a lot of fantasy, hello, recommended this, was reading this, and it sounded really interesting, and I really want to read it. I think this is modern day fantasy kind of mix. She has a group of magical friends. I'm excited to read it, and the sequel is also on my wish list, so if I enjoy that, hopefully I will be able to read the second one as well. Oh no, it's a slightly longer book than the other books. Never mind. Next up, it's been on my wish list for ages because I've been wanting to read it for ages. It's Ninefox Gambit. Hi Angela, if you're watching, I'm gonna read it, I promise. It might be a February book. I know this is gonna confuse me the first time I read it, and probably the second time, and maybe even more times than that, but I'm so excited to finally get to this series. It's been one of those things that's been on my list as when I have the brain to read sci-fi, I will read Ninefox Gambit, and I'm looking forward to doing so. So all I know about this is it's really complicated world building, and that there are some content warnings involved, and that's about all I know. But I'm kind of hoping to go in with vaguely no expectations, because otherwise I think I'm going to have a bad time with it. So I'm excited. These have been on my wish list for quite some time. These are all 4 books in the Solace Invicta series by Josie Jeffrey. So we have Bargain in Silver, The Price of Silver, Bound in Silver, and The Silver Bullet. These are Josie's vampire books. I've been wanting to read these for ages. I am excited to do so. I think I'm going to try and not binge read the series, but read them in pretty close succession, and then maybe reread the Gilded King series as well. Maybe, if I feel like that's something I want to do. I'm just excited to do more vampires. Oh, this one was from my mum. I have Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo, and this was the book that won Booker last year alongside The Tenements. I can't even remember what it's called. Testaments, that's what it's called. But I don't care about that. I don't want to read that, but I do want to read this. This is Britain as you've never read it. This is Britain as it's never been told. From the top of the country to the bottom, across more than a century of change and growth and struggle and life, Girl, Woman, Other follows 12 very different characters on an entwined journey of discovery. So this isn't something that I typically read. I don't read a lot of literary fiction because it tends to annoy me, but this has been kind of vaguely on my radar. It's not something I would have ever picked up for myself, which is why it's nice to have received it as a gift. So if you've read this, let me know what you think, because I'm excited to get to it. Oh, has this been being a pain the whole time? I'm really sorry if this audio has been completely panned. Then I have Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. This is just one of those series that I never got round to reading. I don't even really know what it's about. There's a ferret on the back though, or something, some kind of fairy creature that looks a bit like a ferret with horns. Extraordinary Secrets, Words Coming Alive. Is there a TV series of this or a film or something? I feel like there is. But basically, I really like the new covers they've put on them, and it made me want to read them more, which I guess, I mean, go off, that's what putting new covers on does. Don't know anything about it. If you've read it, let me know. I would like to hear your thoughts. Then I have Rage by Cora Carmack. This is the sequel to Raw, which I have and have already filmed the overbooked video for, quite frustratingly. So this will have to be an add-on to that. But this is Storm Magic YA Fantasy Romance, and I really enjoyed Raw, surprisingly so. It is good comfort reading, and I'm sure this will be too, so looking forward to picking up that. Runaway Princess, Storm Hunters, Magic, all that good stuff. This next one, I had forgotten that it was on my TBR, but this is Breaking Legacies by Zoe Reed. This is an indie, I think it's self-published, fantasy. All I know is it's lesbians and somebody kidnapping or running off with a princess, and I think they're going to fall in love. And I don't know why this was on my wish list. I don't remember putting it there, but clearly some point in the past Judith was like, yes, give that to me. And you know what? I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fun. Queer, fancy, yes, put it in my face. And then I have Network Effect, which is the first Murderbot novel. The rest are novellas. I still have Justine's novellas. Must give them back to her. I've read the novellas. I haven't read this yet. The cover is that really weird, like, Tor, I don't know, whatever strange plasticky paper that they make their dust jackets out of. It feels weird on my fingers, but that's not what this is about. This is sci-fi. It's quite humorous sci-fi, if memory serves, and it's a heart-pounding thriller that never lets up as well, according to Annalee Newitz. I was so-so on the novellas. I liked them, but I think I went in with way too high expectations because of what other people had said. I think I'm going to go into this a little bit more neutral, and hopefully it will blow my mind. I know this is Katie's favourite, so we shall see. And I think that the next one's coming out fairly soon, so be good to get that read. The Traitor, which is the first Barry Cormorant book by Seth Dickinson. I have read this before. I'm rereading it in January. This is economics, but fantasy, but politics, but queer, but yes. I want to reread this. I'm very excited to do so. I think I want to reread the whole series. I know that the third one comes out in paperback, which is the schedule I am on, I think in May, so I am hoping to reread books 1 and 2 before that comes out so I can finally read the third one. Just Kind People. Then I have Riot Baby, and this is a dystopian superpowers kind of novella, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this in January. I really liked Beasts Made of Night, which is this author's first book, I believe. I wasn't so sold on the sequel, but I really want to see what they can do in novella form. That was on my Books I Missed in 2020 video, so it'd be good to tick another one off. And last of the books that I was gifted is Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. This is the bind-up of the webcomic, so it's a graphic novel, and it's just really sweet YA contemporary LGBT fiction, which is not what I typically read, except for this. I've been collecting these, and it's very nice to finally have the third one, because I've been putting it off. I think because some part of my brain was like, we don't buy that because we buy fantasy books, so I've never put the money down, so it's nice to be gifted it because I'm looking forward to reading it again. Then we are on to some books that I purchased for myself. So I have 3 books that haven't arrived, which are American Hippo by Sarah Gailey, and then Silver in the Wood and the Drowned Country by Emily Tesh. Silver in the Wood and the Drowned Country I've already read. I just really wanted to own them because I love them so much. American Hippo has been on my radar because I'm trying to read everything Sarah Gailey has ever written ever. So they are on their way. They will be here in January, but I thought I'd mention them here. But I do have 6 books down here that I purchased myself that arrived today. The first one of which is not a book, but it is just one of those like, you get a line every day for 5 years, and then you get like 5 years. It's sort of the real life equivalent of Facebook Memories, and I've wanted this for absolutely ages, and I finally bit the bullet and purchased it for myself because sometimes things just sit on a wish list and it's so long that you're like, no, I can treat myself to that. But on to the books. Some of these I have read before, some of them are new to me. One of them I have read before is The Invisible Life of Andy LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I finally caved and purchased this. I did have a review copy, a digital review copy. Look at that naked hardback. As you will know, I had a NetGalley review copy. I made a whole video on this, and I finally purchased it. It's been on my list for a while, and I thought, I would like to own a copy of that. Partly also because it's one of my most popular videos of this year, and it's what brought a lot of people to my channel, and it's nice to commemorate that, and it can sit with the rest of my hardback Schwab, none of which fits on the shelf anymore, but we will work that out in the future. Another book from my Books I Missed in 2020 video, this is Venom by Bex Hogan. This is the sequel to Viper, which I've just been wanting to read for ages. It's got a lot of hype online. It's pirates, it's YA. I don't know why I didn't pick it up when it originally released. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I definitely absolutely want to read it. I think I'll need to reread Viper though. It'll be fine. Another book that I've been super excited to read is Cemetery Boys. This was everywhere when it first came out, and probably for very good reason. It sounds entirely up my alley. Death, it's LGBT, it's YA fantasy. I mean, I really want to read it now, but I'm saving it for probably around about my birthday, I think. I have A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, which I saw on Portal Books website and really wanted to read, and having read Bryony and Roses by T. Kingfisher and really enjoyed it, I thought this would be fun. This is like baking magic. Yeah, 14-year-old Mona isn't like wizards charged with defending the city. She can't control lightning or speak to water. Her familiar is a sourdough starter, and her magic only works on bread. I think this is going to make me hungry, but it sounds really cute and really nice and fun, and also a murder mystery, which, I mean, everything I want in the world. It's very cute. I want to read it. And lastly, this is another book that I've had on my radar for a while. This is a novella. This is The Deep by River Solomon. This is meant to be very beautiful, very heartbreaking, very painful to read in a way. I think eye-opening as well. Angela's talked a lot about this. I don't want to go into it in too much detail before I've read it. I kind of want to just experience it. So this is going to happen at some point when I'm mentally resilient. And the last thing I purchased for myself was a copy of The Kingdom of Copper. Yes. I had to check that's what it was called then. I always get the first ones right, the city, kingdom, empire. Always get them mixed up. But yes, as I say, Amber purchased me the first one. I wanted to have them all, so I bought the second one for myself, and I will buy Empire of Gold in May. I think that paperback is out, because I want to own them all. I don't want to own one in hardback. And, you know, I can wait. I've read it before, but I've already talked about how much I love that series and how I'm going to reread it. So yes, many books. I am immensely grateful, and having not brought any books really in at all in 2020, it It is ludicrous to have this many added all in one go. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work for my brain, but I am excited to read every single one of these, even the Count of Monte Cristo, and I think it's going to be a really, really good year. Are any of these on your TBR? Are you excited to pick any of them up? Let me know in the comments below. While you're down there commenting, you can also subscribe, because it makes me feel loved and appreciated, and it makes sure that you see my content. That's all from me for now, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Why do you suck? The Traitor Barry Cormoran. Ooh, that's all from me? No? Yes.